Right, okay. So I think this is probably it. If we do get any latecomers, that's absolutely fine. We will let them in the room. Right, so today's exercises, I know sometimes when we've done the morning ones, we've done all, all the stretching ones and all the mobility ones. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to concentrate mainly on balance, and I'm going to try and do some dynamic balance exercises as well, tying it in, rather than doing the static stuff. And depending on how we get on for time, we might finish off just doing a little bit of sat down stuff, using resistance bands if you've got your resistance band to hand. Oh, Teresa's not here. We normally get Teresa. Okay. She's probably got a better offer. So most of the session is going to be standing up. As I say, it's going to be fairly dynamic. If at any point you need to have a sit down and have a rest, just have a sit down and have a rest. Today you'll need a little bit more room than you've probably used in the past. So I'm going to be moving around a little bit. Don't worry, I'm not going to be doing a Zumba class or anything like that. So just make sure you've just got a little bit of room just to swing a cat, not literally, or a dog. Right, without further ado, we're going to do our warm-up standing up. So if hopefully you've got your support and your chair. So standing up nice and tall, just to start off with, I just want you to just feel settled on your feet. We're just going to do a little bit with our posture before we get into the nitty gritty. So just standing with your feet just under hips width apart, nice and solid on the ground, a teeny tiny little bend in the knees. So we don't want to be locking our knees out, forcing our knees backwards, because that's no good. We're just going to stand up nice and tall. So imagine, as I've spoken about before, each vertebra, each part of the vertebra stacked perfectly one on top of the other, like Lego blocks, and then feel yourself being drawn up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift our shoulders up, back, and down, and then just settle your shoulders and your body position in where you are now. So just try to ingrain into that muscle memory a nice tall posture, and then you can slump again. So this is our normal sort of day-to-day stuff, which isn't great, and you'll probably realise your shoulders drooping forwards, and don't mind do. So let's fix that by standing up nice and tall, lengthening that spine, and then shoulders up, back, and then just drop them down. We're just going to hold that position so your chest is out slightly. You might feel your shoulders just gently being pulled back, but not too exaggerated. And then relax there. Right, so without further ado, use your chair as a bit of support if you want to, as we warm up. So we're just going to be marching on the spot, just to get that heart rate going. A little bit of a swing of the arms. If you're feeling okay, and you want to swing both arms, that's absolutely fine. If you want to do the warm-up sat down, that is also absolutely fine as well. You've all done many classes with me before, so you kind of probably know what's going to come ahead. And as I say, if you want to sit down or stand up, that is your choice. When we are marching, remember, we're trying to land on the toes and then roll to the heels, just so that we get that movement through the foot, through those bones in your feet, as well as the ankle, as well as the knees, and as well as the hip. So just a nice swing of those arms as we warm up. We're not going to go too purposeful just yet. I am aware of the time of the day. For some of you, it is quite early, so I don't want to go full tilt just yet. So just reaching out those arms to the front, just stretching out, just keeping those feet moving. If you want to do the one-armed version, you can do. Just for that little bit of stability. As I say, it might just take a little bit of time for one or two of you to fully waken up. So this might not be the best sensation at the moment. Beautiful, lovely. And then back to just normal marching. We're just going to use our arms just a little bit more. So a bit of a bend in those elbows now, and pushing those elbows behind you. So it's just a little bit more purposeful. Still trying to stand up nice and tall. I know you're thinking about your feet, and you're probably thinking about your elbows. So let's think about the posture as well. So this time with our arms, we're going to stretch up. Just nice and rhythmical, not too fast. We just want to get our circulation going, warming up those muscles, loosening up the joints. And we're going to reach forwards And we're going to reach up. And we're reaching forwards. And just back to marching again. Okay, so we're going to change our feet. Again, hold on to the chair if you want to, but we're stepping forward. We're going to reach with the toes. We're reaching with the toes forward. I've put my blue and black socks on today. Hopefully you can see my feet. So we're dabbing our toes out. So I want you to feel a stretch through the lower part of your leg. If you can let go of the chair and you want to swing your arms, then we're trying to do opposite arm and leg. Because if you do the same side, you're not in a disco. So keeping those toes dabbing down, but with a little bit more of a reach forwards now. So a little bit more purposeful with the reach. So a little bit more of a stretch through the shoulders and through the back. Still dabbing those toes down. Marvellous. Okay, we're going to lead with the heels now. So still reaching forwards, but heels. Just dabbing those heels down. You're not slamming those heels down into the ground, just dabbing it down. So a little bit of control. There is a bit of balance going on as well. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit out of breath, certainly feeling that heart rate creeping up. Back to normal marching. Okay, so just make sure you've got a bit of room to the sides because we're going to do toe taps side to side. So again, leading with the heels. To make sure you've got the room, then you can bring your arms into it, into our bicep curls. Again, no, you don't need to go as fast as me. If you need to slow it down a little bit, that's absolutely fine. Smashing. Right, let's change the arms. Let's push away. Still tapping those toes side to side. So really starting to feel that through the hips area now. We're going to go back to curls. And pushing away. And back to curls. Marvellous, marvellous. Back to marching. So back onto your chair if you need to, because we're going to slow it down and just lift those knees up just a little bit higher. Really working the hip area. Might need those later on, those hips. Fabulous, and then back to normal marching. So just slowing it down. So just paddling the feet, so your heels are just coming off the ground, but you're not lifting the foot fully off the ground. So we're just slowing it down, just bringing the arms down into a swing. And you may relax there. That wasn't too bad, was it? Right, so a little bit more with our mobility. So standing with those feet about hips width apart, tiny little bend in the knees, one arm on top of the other, nice straight backs, and then rotating from the waist, side to side. Make sure those knees are soft, so you're not putting too much strain through the knee joints as you twist. You do want that movement to come from the waist and the lower back. Nice and easy. So really just loosening up the back. We're just going to spend just a few more twists just to try and get any stiffness, any creaks and cracks out of that spine. And then coming back to the center. Keeping those knees nice and soft. Dropping the arms down by the side. Roll your shoulders back. Now we're going to do some side bends. So I just want you to start off small. Small side bends, but fairly mobile, fairly dynamic. So you're sliding that hand down the side of each leg, and then go a little bit further if you can. So we're just building up the range of movement as you get looser, as you get warmer through that lower back. So just sliding that hand down just a millimetre further each time. Keep going, that's it. Still just loosening up. And then just relaxing there. Okay, so let's change our legs. So take half a step forward with one leg. Keep that separation, so we're not on a tightrope. We're keeping our feet about hips width apart. except we've got one leg slightly further forward than the other. Do it into our press up position, pushing all the way out, all the way back, all the way out, all the way back. So that front knee, you've got a slight bend in that front knee. You've not locked out that front knee. Slight bend, really stretching forwards, really pulling back. Really stretching forwards and then pulling back. Stretching out those shoulders, stretching out your back. Get as much movement as you can through that torso. One more for me. Smashing, good. Okay, so change the position of your feet. This time we're going to do our elbows. We're going to pretend we've got our imaginary ball and we're throwing that ball overhead. So just with a little bit of vim and vigour with that throw. So working through the elbows and through the back of the upper arm. And you might feel your heart rate creeping up as well for this one. Beautiful, lovely. Come on, a little bit of zip. You can manage it, you can manage it. All right, just slow it down and relax there. Give those shoulders a bit of a shake. So just a little bit for our legs. Just hold on to something for this one. So just standing on one leg, I just want you to flex your toes up and down. So we would do this normally sat down. Feel free to do this sat down if you want to. It's not a problem. Go side to side with that foot and then a circle and a circle in the other direction. And then just a little bit of a swing forwards and backwards, just a little swing. Loosening up those knees. If you can go a little bit more with that movement, with that range of movement from the knee joint, then please do. Fabulous, and relax there. Let's do the same on the other leg. So just lifting up and then flexing those toes up and down. Getting the movement through the ankle joint. And then side to side. And a circle in one direction. And a circle in the other direction. And then those little knee swings just to start off with. And if you're feeling okay with your knees, just going a little bit further if you can. Beautiful, lovely, and relax there. A little bit with our hips, so just standing with your feet just a little bit closer together. A leg, don't mind which, we're going to lift up, out to the side, down and in. Your other leg, up, out, down, in. So we're alternating, up, out, down and in, and the other one, up, out, down, in. We're going to do one more on each side. So last one on this side. And then we're going to go in the other direction. So we're going to slide, lift, in, down. Other leg, slide, lift, in, down. Slide, lift, in, down. I've lost count, so we'll carry on. One more on each side. Slide, lift, in, down. Last one, slide, lift, in, and down. And relax there. Right, so I'm not going to do star jumps, I'm not going to do run on the spot, I'm not going to do punches or anything like that. It's too early or too late, depending on where you are in the world, to be doing that sort of stuff. We're going to crack on with our balance. I'm going to start off, as always, with each exercise, doing this kind of simpler version, and I'll add difficulty if you want it, if you want to try that. Remember, if at any point you're feeling unwell, you've not had enough, fluids this morning, so you might be feeling a little bit lightheaded, anything like that, if you need to sit down and take a rest, then please sit down and take a rest. Okay, so we're going to start off doing some calf raises. We are going to start off using the chair, but as always, we'll try, because this is balance orientated today, we'll try and let go of the chair at a point. So just starting off, just holding onto your support. We're starting off with our feet, I don't know, about 12 inches apart or so. So we're not too close, but we're not striding as if we're sat on a horse. We're standing up nice and tall. And then from here, we're just going to transfer our body weight forwards over the toes, and then lifting those heels up as high as you can, and then nice and slowly lower back down. So what we're looking for here is this transfer of your center of gravity of your body weight forwards over the toes to raise. And then your body weight comes backwards. So we're not just simply going up and down. We want the movement up. sorry, forwards and up, and then down and back, forwards and up, down and back. So just try and get into a rhythm. And if you're feeling okay, then see what you can do with your hands. So if that is just resting your fingertips on the top of the chair, or taking one hand off, or raising both hands just a couple of inches off the top of the chair, you can always put your hands back down. And because I've asked you to do this forwards and up, down and back, because I've asked you to do this movement, you're changing your centre of gravity in a very, very minute way, which still needs that control, that balance. There's actually a little bit of core strength required as well to have that control. You're probably not thinking about your calves, are you? All right, so just relax there. Just give your legs just a little bit of a shake. So the opposite one is the toe raises. So with this one, be careful because we're going backwards. We're changing our centre of gravity and it's moving backwards. There is that danger that you overcook it. So make sure you've got some room behind you and start off using the chair. So again, standing up nice and tall. Your feet are still 12 inches apart. We're going to shift our centre of gravity back over our heels now to lift the toes up and then back. So we've got this movement where we're swaying, almost a sway forwards and backwards. Don't overcook it because you know what happens. You fall backwards. So this is about control now. It's not about showing off, lifting up those toes as high as you can as you shift your centre of gravity backwards. Try, see what you can do with your hands. This is harder than the first exercise, so you might just want to leave a fingertip just on the top of the chair. Just so that if you do overcook it, you can put your hand back down and then there's no disasters. Right, how are we feeling with that? Okay, so just relax there and just give those legs a little bit of a shake. And now we're going to tie those two exercises together. So much more dynamic, much more movement going through the lower part of the leg, through the ankle and through the foot. So feet are 12 inches apart. We're still stood up nice and tall. Start off with your hand in contact with your support. Move your centre of gravity forwards and up. And then back, allowing you to lift your toes up. Heels up, toes up. Always trying to get the movement, that swaying movement with control. Should have put my orange socks on, you might be able to see my feet better. Don't be afraid of popping your hand down on your support if you need to, or a fingertip. Fabulous. Okay, I'll just relax there, just give those legs a little bit of a shake. How are we doing, all right? Yeah, you're all still in shock, so that's a good sign. So we're going to go on to the tightrope progression now. So when we've done this in the past, and you've all done it with me before, it's the one where I ask you to, we stand on a tightrope, we hold this position, then we lift the toes up, we hold that position, and then we lift the leg off the ground and we hold that position, and you all get really sore hips. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit more dynamic. Let me show you first of all, and then you can join in. So we are going to start off in that tightrope position, but I'm going to hold each point for a shorter duration. So we're going to be more up. So we're going to be doing this kind of movement at this kind of speed. All right, so it's a little bit like that heel toe raise that we've just done, but with the tightrope. So first of all, I don't mind which leg you want to start off with. Pick a leg, and that's going to be your lead foot. So remember, we're looking to have our feet in a line. Let's just get ourselves set, first of all, in this position. You've got your support, your feet are in a line, your weight distribution over both feet, so we're not too far back, too far forward, and we're standing up nice and tall. We're trying to lift our chest up, so we're not slumping down here. We want to stay nice and lifted. I'm just going to turn it to a quirky angle, so hopefully you can see my feet. Oh, what's going on there? Is that who's got snags with their IT? Oh, it's Jean. Okay. So we're going to rock back toes come off the ground, foot off the ground, heel down, forwards. So rocking back, toes up, foot up, heel down, tightrope. Rocking back, heel, foot off the ground, heel, tightrope. Have we got it? We got that rhythm? So use your chair if you want to. Just looking for this swaying movement. And you'll feel the back leg, working really hard to stay balanced because this is more dynamic. I think this is more real, if you like. If you were out and about, if you were walking around, then you're dynamic, aren't you? You're moving. You very rarely just stand around just on one leg, unless you're a flamingo. So we're always moving, aren't we? And if we can incorporate dynamic balance exercises, they become a little bit more realistic. How are we feeling doing this? Are you getting used to it? You getting into that rhythm? Okay, so what I want you to do, you're coming back, lift the foot off the ground, hold that position. Use your chair if you want to. Hold that position, just on one leg. Rest if you need to rest. With me, heel down, forwards, back, lift that foot off the ground. Foot down, forwards, back, foot off the ground. One more, back into that tightrope, come forwards, come back, lift that foot off the ground. Okay, and relax there. It's a bit kinder on the hips, that one, isn't it? But it's much more dynamic. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. We're going to change it around, so we're going to do the other leg. So your other leg now becomes the lead foot. Again, let's just spend just a few moments just setting ourselves up. So we're onto our tightrope now. The other leg is your lead foot. And again, we're looking to be nice and balanced. Distribute that weight. Use your chair just to start off with until your brain, until your balance, your vestibular system sort of settles here and knows what to expect. We're standing up nice and tall. We've got our chest lifted, shoulders back slightly. We're not slumping. Shoulders back slightly. We're just going to hold this position just for a moment, and then we'll get on with the crux. Sorry, I can see someone moving around. You're all right. It's okay. It's all right. We're all right. Sorry. So let's do it just slow, just to start off with. We're on our tightrope. So we're going to shift our center of gravity backwards. Toes come off the ground. Foot off the ground, heel back down, back into the tightrope. So back, toes off the ground, foot off the ground, back onto the tightrope, forwards and back. Have you got it? So just start off nice and steady. Think about what you're doing with your support, what you're doing with your hand. Always come back into that tightrope position. And just see what you can do with your hand. I'm at an odd position here. I should have changed my chair around. Use my wall or my door if I wanted to, if I needed my support. So hopefully you're into that rhythm now. And as you get into that rhythm, you become a little bit more settled. But you can still feel your back leg working really hard to control this movement, to control that center of gravity as you go forwards and backwards. Hopefully you can really feel the balance working. Okay, just a couple more, and you know what's coming. Okay, so we'll go into our tightrope. We're lifting the front toes off, front foot off the ground. Hold that position. Hold that position. Foot back down into the tightrope position. Come back. Toes off the ground. Foot off the ground. Hold it. Use your support if you need to. Back into tightrope. Come back. Foot off the ground. Hold that position. There is a little bit of pressure building there in that standing leg, I know. Foot back down. and relax. Give those legs a bit of a shake. There we are. Something a little bit different, isn't it? Okay. How are we doing for time? We're doing all right for time. Okay, so next, looking on me, I've got my board down the front there. So the next one we're going to do is another dynamic balance exercise. It's one we've not done for ages. Where's my chair? Right, so we're going to do the pelican swing. It's quite a demanding one for your hips. It's quite a demanding one for the standing leg. So rest if you need to rest, or if you're thinking, well, I don't like this one, you can go and pretend that the doorbell's rang and you've got the delivery or whatever it is. Please make sure you've got some room in front and behind you. You're not going to kick someone or something, or the dog or the furniture or anything like that. You're standing side onto your support. Start off by holding onto your support, and then the leg furthest away from your support is going to be doing the moving. The leg closest to your support is going to be still. It's going to be holding you up. So this is a leg that's going to get achy. I'm just going to tell you that now. So the pelican swing, nice and solid in my standing leg, the leg closest to the chair. I'm still standing up nice and tall. I've got my hand resting on the top of the chair. I'm going to bend my leg to the front. I'm going to graze the floor, and I'm going to bend my leg behind. So it's this pendulum movement. Bent leg, bent leg. We're not doing this with a straight leg. So I just want this nice smooth movement. Keep your upper body still. Keep your chest lifted. It's just this leg that is swinging backwards and forwards like a pendulum. If you feel you can take your hand off the chair or just rest fingers on your chair, please do. It becomes much harder because this standing leg is, this leg is moving around, so it's changing your center of gravity the whole time, and you're having to deal with that pressure that's building in your standing leg. So just a couple more swings. Come on, you can do it. See what you can do with your hand. Way, and relax there. Give those legs a shake. Yeah, I know how that hip feels. We are going to do the other side. We are going to do the other leg. So I'm just going to change position of my chair. So my standing leg now is closest to the chair. That achy leg is furthest away from the chair. That's going to be doing the swinging. Again, just make sure you've got some room around you. Standing up nice and tall. Standing leg is nice and solid into the ground. And then bent leg to the front, bent leg behind. Bent leg to the front, bent leg behind. So again, just building up that pendulum movement. It's just the leg that's moving. Keep your chest lifted. And if you start to feel okay, see what you can do with your hand. Either just resting a fingertip on the top of your chair, or lifting a couple of inches. You can always pop it back down if you need to. And then just build up the length that you take your hand off the chair. Just keep that rhythm. Keep your posture. Looking straight ahead, something that isn't going to move. So don't be looking at me. And know that pressure's building in that standing leg. Try and fight through just for a few more swings. Just a few more swings. Marvellous. And relax there. Oof, we all right? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to change the order of things. Right, so something we've not done for a little while. We're going to do the tightrope walk now. We talked about the tightrope earlier on where we were doing this movement. So back onto the tightrope, but this time we're going to do the tightrope walk. Now, I appreciate that some of you may not have loads of room nearby. So all I'm looking for is 3 or 4 steps. Hopefully, you'll still have contact with your chair just for moving 3 or 4 steps. So what I'm going to ask you to do, you can see the position of the back of my chair. I'm going to stand at arm's length away from the back of my chair. All right? So I'm not stood here. You'll see why for a moment. So I'm still in contact with my chair, but I'm at arm's length. I'm going to get on my tightrope. So I'm going to swing, it doesn't matter which leg. I'm going to swing one leg in front of the other. I'm just going to have a look down just to make sure my feet are in a nice straight line. And I'm going to stand up nice and tall. I'm still in contact with my chair. I've got my fingertips resting on the chair, and I can still stand up nice and tall. I'm not sure you can see the top of my head. That's not necessarily a bad thing. So standing up nice and tall. So we're going to do a tightrope walk now. 3 or 4 steps, always staying in contact with the chair, or always having the chair within reach if you need to. So, tightrope walk, imagine you've got your tightrope and you're going to walk along that tightrope, trying to maintain your posture, but looking ahead, not looking down. So we're going to come round onto our tightrope, and again, so that heel to toe. Now you might get 3 or 4 steps in before you're going to lose contact with your chair. Don't turn around. You're going to go backwards. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. So imagining you're still on that tightrope, get to arm's length, and then forwards again. Nice and controlled. If you can let go of your chair, then please do. Don't go too far though. Have the chair nearby, just in case you need it. Going backwards, obviously much trickier if you're letting go of your chair. That's all we're looking for, these 3 or 4 steps forwards and backwards. Nice and controlled, still thinking about that tightrope. So this is an exercise you can do whilst the kettle's boiling, because usually you've got a nice worktop that you can hold on to. And you've probably got space whilst the kettle's boiling to do these 3 or 4 steps. Okay, I want you to relax there just for a moment and just give your legs a shake. So just add in a bit of difficulty if you want to. If you want to, you don't have to if you don't want to do this next bit. Still that tightrope walk, forwards and backwards. Still having contact or proximity to your support. This time, you're going to do it blindfolded, not blindfolded, but you're going to do it with your eyes closed. So just set yourself, first of all, before you move, make sure you're balanced before you move with your eyes closed. And then when you feel you're ready, taking that step forward, nice and steady. You've got your support if you need it. 3 or 4 steps forwards, 3 or 4 steps backwards. Open your eyes if you need to. If you're not certain, if you're feeling just, oh, you're thinking, oh, not for me today, thank you very much, Alison. And by all means, do this with your eyes open. Or go forwards with your eyes closed, backwards with your eyes open. Whatever you feel comfortable with. As long as there's a little bit of extra difficulty there, you never know, you might surprise yourself. So one more time forwards. And one more time backwards. And when you've done that, take a breather. Are we okay? I'm trying to get my head back in shot now. Okie dokie. Right then. That wasn't easy, was it? Sometimes it's a bit difficult to do that in the class because I don't always have the space to have you all coordinating, you all going in the same direction. Right, so I'm going to finish off our last standing up exercise. I'm going to do side steps. Right, so not lunges. So I'm going to turn this, I know we've done this in the past as a strength exercise, I'm going to turn it into a bit of a balance exercise. So I'm going to stand side onto my chair. I'm only going to go in one direction, so I'm going to go in this direction. So just make sure you've got space to one side of you. Don't worry, we'll turn around and do the other side in a moment. So for this one, you've got your support nearby. But I'm not looking for massive lunges on this one. I'm looking for steps. I'm looking for a bend in the knee and a push back onto one leg. It's a step, it's a bend, it's a push back. Okay, so what I was saying earlier on about trying to make some of these exercises a little bit more realistic in the real world, this is one of them. So having that strength to push off to one leg, to balance, to hold this position, to have that core strength, and then go again. Yeah? Doesn't have to be a big stride. as long as there's a bend in that knee and a push. And can you hold this position for a second before you go again? Can you balance and then go again? So having that control, having that core strength. Use your chair if you need to. There we go. Beautiful, lovely. That's not easy, is it? Having to catch yourself here and hold it before you move again. Probably feeling that through that standing hip, just creeping in just a little bit. Okay, we're trying to do 2 more, just in your own time, just 2 more. Marvellous, okay. Once you've done your 2, give your legs a little bit of a wiggle, because I know that leg's probably a bit achy. Guess what, we're going to do the other side. So again, just be aware that you may be amazing on one side compared to the other, obviously depending on hips and knees and all sorts of other things, crazy things going on in the body. So just start off nice and simple, build up the intensity, build up the difficulty depending on how you're feeling. Start off with your hand on your chair. Remember, you're taking that step out into a bend and then pushing up onto one leg. So step, bend, push. Can you hold that position just for a second before you go again? Use your chair if you need to. Having that control, having that core strength, and having the balance to hold and then go again. The more of a push you do, the harder it is to hold that balance, because you've put a lot of effort into the push, so it's almost like your body has to break. So just adjust it as you see fit. There we go. So you're probably, again, just starting to feel that pressure, that strain in that standing leg. Rest if you need to rest, or slow it down, or reduce the intensity. You can just you can just do this version if you want, just coming back to the center if you didn't want to do the balance bit. Right, 2 more for me. So again, just in your own time. Fabulous. You know what I'm like. All right, relax there. You don't need to do that, by the way. Relax, relax, relax. Have a sit down. Have a sit down. Have a slurp of your drink if you've got a drink with you. So we've got 10 minutes. We can squeeze a little bit of resistance work in. 10 minutes. I'm going to give your legs a rest. It's going to do a little bit for the upper body. So what I'd like you to do, please, with your resistance band, take the end, create your loop, just drop it down towards the ground, and then put both feet on your band. Make sure you've got some space to the side of you, because we're going to do some side arm raises to start off with. Hold the ends of your band for this one. Hold the ends of your band. So I think we tried this the other day. I can't remember what day we tried it. So we're going to start off slow, or sorry, we're going to start off small and increase the range of movement. So stop when you reach your point, if you like. If your shoulders are a little bit tricky today, just take it nice and steady. So our arms are down by our sides and our arms are straight. You've probably got quite a lot of slack on your band. Sit up nice and tall. Just bring those shoulders back slightly. And then just lift your arms up until you get a little bit of tension on your band, and then lower. And then a little bit further. So about level with your rib cage and back down. So we're going to go for level with your own shoulders now and back down. Level with your eyebrows and back down. I'm going to leave it up to you now. How far do you want to go? How far do you want to go? Do you know what? You might still be down here. If your shoulders are not so good and your arms are down here, that is absolutely fine. Go with where you feel comfortable on your shoulders. If you can get higher, then go higher. No, that's not easy, but see what you can do today. See how those shoulders are feeling. And you're probably not thinking about your hips and your knees right now, are you? Nice and controlled, even on the descent, so even on that lowering, with your muscles under tension, We're still getting a workout. We're not just letting our arms flap down. There you are. You're feeling them shoulders now, aren't you? Marvellous. All right, so relax there. Give those shoulders a bit of a shake. Keep the band where it is. So we're going to move on to the backs of the arms now, these triceps. What I want you to do, though, is hopefully you're all sat on a chair that's got some space. You've not got arms on your chair. What I want you to do is I want you to walk your hands down your band. So quite far down, so you've got some tension on your band when your arms are straight and you're sat up nice and tall. So basically I'm trying to avoid this flappiness. We want that tension on your band so that when you sit up with your arms straight, you'll feel a little bit of tension in those resistance bands. So sitting up nice and tall, just bring your shoulders back, one arm at a time. You're going to push the arm, straight arm behind you, hold it for a second, and then bring it back. And then the other arm, push behind you, hold it for a second, bring it back. Push it behind. Remember, it's just your arm that's moving. We're not looking to twist. We're not looking to turn our heads and admire how far we've been able to move our arm. We just want the arm being pushed behind you. You'll feel that muscle, that tricep in the back of your upper arm. You'll feel that contract. You might feel it a little bit through those shoulders. So that's the area that we're aiming for. Nice and easy. Again, control that movement when you come back to the start position. Don't let the band control you. Super job. Okay, so just relax there. Just give those arms a little bit of a shake. Both arms at the same time now. Sitting up nice and tall. Both arms going to go behind you. Again, hold it for a second. And then nice and controlled, bring it back. Both arms push back. Try and get those shoulders back. Back to the start. And again. So just in your own time now. Pushing both arms behind you. Pushing both arms behind you. Holding it for a second. And then bringing it back. Try and keep those arms straight. Not bending at the elbow. Coming back. Fabulous. Just going to do one more. It's always one more. Smashing. Okay, and relax there. Give those arms a little bit of a shake. Okay, so bring your hands back. So you're holding the ends of your band. Keeping the band underneath both feet. So we're going to do some front raises now. So we've done the side. We've done the back. Now we're going to do the front. So holding the ends of your band. Again, straight arms. And then just popping your fists just on your kneecaps or on your thighs. As long as these arms are straight, we've not got banana arms. Straight arms. We're sitting up nice and tall. So one arm at a time now. About level with your own shoulder. And then back down. And then the other side. And back down. I've intentionally asked you to hold the ends of your band for this one. For reasons that will become apparent in a moment. So I know some of you might find this a little bit easier because I've asked you to hold the very ends of your band. So there's a little bit more slack on the band. As I say, don't worry, it'll all become clear in a moment. That sounds ominous, doesn't it? Okay, so just relax there. Give those shoulders a shake. So again, we're going to build up the range of movement. So an arm, I don't mind which arm. Level with your own shoulder and back down. So go with where you feel comfortable. If you get to the level of your eyebrows, back down. Same arm. Can you get to the level of the top of your head? Back down. Right, you've got the gist of it now. I'm going to leave it up to you. How high can you lift that straight arm? Keep the arm straight. If you can get it overhead, fabulous. Don't worry if you can't. You might still be level with your own shoulder. Doesn't matter. Those muscles in those shoulders are still working. Whether you get to this point, or whether you get to this point, or whether you go even further. Marvellous. Okay, let's give that arm a rest. Give your shoulders a shake. Let's do the other side. So again, just starting off, level with your own shoulder and back down. So on this side, how far can you go? Can you get to your eyebrows? can you get to the top of your head? If this is it, if this is your bad side, don't worry, go with where you can. But building it up, if you're feeling okay, building it up a little bit further each time and seeing how far you can go. Keeping control of that band. All right, just one more for me. Super job. Okay, and then just relax there, give those shoulders a shake. So we're going to do that, but both arms at the same time. Right, so again, go with where you feel comfortable. I know the shoulders are probably a little bit achy now. So let's start off if we can get level with our own shoulders. And back down. You'll need your core muscles for this, you'll need your tummy muscles. To your eyebrows if you can. Okay, can you get to the top of your head? Don't worry if you can't. Okay, it's in your own hands now. How far can you go? Just building it up in stages. Don't go for the full whack straight away. Build it up. Or just maintain the level that you've reached. Use those core muscles. It's not easy, is it? No, it's not an easy one. Okay, one more for me, please. Relax there. Just give those shoulders a shake. So just to finish off, last one with the resistance band, a relatively simple one, a relatively straightforward one. Just going to finish off with a bicep curl, so just to keep the front of the arm here nice and strong. For this one, just walk your hands down just a little bit on the band. You don't need to go all the way. We're tucking our elbows in, our hands are somewhere next to our knees, and we're sitting up nice and tall. So this is the one, just turn side on. As I say, we've tucked our elbows in. We're going to do both arms at the same time, just lifting up towards our shoulders, nice and controlled, lowering it back down. So your elbow is the pivot point, keeping them nice and tucked into the sides. Our elbows aren't going forwards like we're doing the locomotion. Just nice and controlled, nothing fancy now. Done all the fancy stuff. This is just a good solid exercise. Think about your postures. Think about the control through the arm. If you want to add a little bit of extra resistance, by all means, just shimmy your hands down the band. If you just want to make those muscles work just a little bit harder, you've got that option. But I'm just looking for control now, nothing quick. I'm not going to do any of the variations, any of the fancy variations where we slow it down and start counting. Pleased to know. Smashing. Okay, relax there. Just give those arms a shake. They've worked hard. Your legs have worked hard. Your balance system has worked hard. So step off your band and just pop your band just out the way. Finish with those, I think. I'm not even going to do abs today either, because that's been quite an intense exercise session. Just give your hands a shake. Just been gripping that band for the last 10 minutes or so. So just shake out any tension you've got in your hands and in your forearms and wrists. And then fingers in and out. And then egg whisks. And up and down. And fingers in and out. Fabulous. Let's do our elbows. We do this. You do the other side. Can you go in the other direction? On the other side? Can you do that thing that they do? Anyway, enough of that. Right, let's do some stretches for our legs. So just sitting forward in your chair for me, and as always, we're just going to extend one leg out, and then point those toes up towards the ceiling, and now just try and enjoy those stretches. Listen, those leg muscles have worked really hard today. I know I've been talking about balance, but you can't do balance unless you've got a good, strong foundation, and that's using those muscles. So now we're going to give them a good stretch. So pointing those toes up towards the ceiling, and then pointing your toes forwards, and toes back up towards the ceiling. Please do practice your balance. As I say, when you're boiling the kettle, while you're waiting for a pan to boil, anything like that, if you're just standing on one leg or practicing your tightrope, do you know what? Just those little bits each day do make a big difference. difference do count as well. So just relax your foot, hands onto your bent leg, we're sitting up nice and tall, and then we're folding forwards towards that straight leg until you feel your stretch. And then, as always, we're just trying to relax now, just to keep that length and that flexibility through the back of your thigh. Take a breath out, see if you can get a little bit further into your stretch. Maybe the back muscles are relaxing now, so you're getting further into that stretch. And then slowly pushing back up to your seated position. This straight leg, you're going to bend it, get your hands around your knee, and then pull up that knee as high as you can to stretch out your bum. And relax there. Let's do the same on the other side. So extend your leg out and pointing those toes up towards the ceiling. Pointing those toes forwards. And pulling back, toes up towards the ceiling. Relax your foot, take the tension off, hands onto your bent knee, sitting up nice and tall. And then leaning forwards to enjoy that stretch through the back of the thigh, maybe into the back of the knee, maybe into your bum, maybe into the lower back. And take that breath out, see if you can go, even if it's just a few millimeters, further into that stretch. And then gently pushing back up to your seated position, and then the straight leg becomes bent, hold onto the knee, pull up that knee as high as you can. And then relax there. So let's do a little bit for our upper body. So we're going to sit up nice and tall, one hand in front of the other, turn side on. Push those hands out, stretching out your back. So we're going to make this a little bit more dynamic. So from the back stretch, we're going to go into the chest stretch. Make sure those shoulders are being pulled back as your chest goes out. Then into the back, pushing those hands away. And then pulling back on your shoulders, stretching out the chest and collarbones. Into the back stretch. Into the chest and shoulder stretch. We'll do that sequence one more time. To the back. And then pulling back, chest. And relax there. Speaking of shoulders, one arm across the front of your body, holding onto your elbow and gently pulling in on that elbow. Stretching through the back of the shoulder. And now this arm that you're stretching is going to reach around the back of your head, and then try and get those fingers through to the center of the head, or even to the back of the neck, or if you can get your fingers between your shoulder blades, fabulous. Don't worry if you can't. I know shoulders can be troublesome, so just go with where you can. You might be comfortable pushing your elbow up towards the ceiling. You might be comfortable reaching over the top to pull on the elbow. Entirely up to you. And then releasing out of that. Let's do the other side. So other arm across the front of your body, onto the elbow and pull. And then this arm down the back of the head, or the neck, or the shoulder blades. Just pushing up gently on that elbow if you can. Or if you want to, you can go over the top and pull that way. And then releasing and coming back down. So we're going to do a twist. So we're going to take a hand onto your opposite knee. The other hand holds onto your chair. You can find it, there it is. Sitting up nice and tall. And then pulling yourself around. Remember, we're trying to rotate the whole of the spine. So starting from the lower back, into the middle back, and then all the way up towards the base of the skull. We're not turning the head today. I just want you to think about your torso. And use that hand that's on your knee as a lever to help pull you round. And slowly release, coming back to the center. We're going to do the other side, onto your opposite knee, onto your chair, lengthen, and then gently pulling round, all the way around as far as you can. also thinking about your lower back. You're not just pulling those shoulders and your head round. And slowly coming back to the centre. Might overrun by a minute or two. I hope that's, if you need to dash off because you've got the things, then please dash off. I'm just going to do the lower back stretch and then we're into neck stretches. So for the lower back stretch, as always, please take it nice and steady or sit out completely if you're worried about your lower back. Go with where you feel comfortable. So we're sitting up nice and tall, we've got our hands on our knees, and our hands are going to just take the weight of our torso in the early stages as we fold forwards. So just nice and easy until you start to feel that little bit of a stretch through the lower back. Just try and relax. And as always, if you're feeling okay, and you do want a slightly deeper stretch, you can drop your hands down towards your ankles, your feet, or the carpet, where you're going to get a deeper pull now through the back. And I know it's difficult, but do try and breathe normally. I know your chest is compressed here, but do try and breathe normally. And then hands back on your knees, and very gently pushing back up to your seated position. Okay, final stages now. Just give me a few shrugs. Get those shoulders loose, and then roll those shoulders backwards. We're just going to finish off now with our neck stretches. Remember, we're just moving the head. We are not moving our shoulders. Sitting up nice and tall. Head and eyes round. Push the chin around to look over your shoulder. Remember, there should be no rotation through the torso. It should just be your head that's moved. Back to the center, all the way around, looking over your other shoulder. And back to the center. Now we're going to tilt to one side. So just let gravity take hold of your head as it drops across. And coming back up and over towards the other side. And back up. And now lowering the chin to the chest to feel a stretch through the back of the neck. And lifting up, looking up towards the ceiling, stretching through the throat. And back down. And finally, drawing those circles nice and gently as always. Rotating that head around as much as you can. And then very gently back round in the other direction. And relax there. Give your hands a final shake. And give your legs a pat down. And give yourself a round of applause. Well done. Everyone all right? You can unmute yourself if you want to.